Okay, let's have a look at the answers to these puzzles. First, let's tackle the easy one. Let's get cracking then. White to play and mate in 1. And we have to check all 8 squares next to the black king. So let's take a look. The A7 rook stops the black king going back towards the edge of the board, and the white king stops the black king moving nearer the centre of the board. So all that's left are these squares on the 6th rank. Looks like a job for the B2 rook. Great! Medium puzzle now then. And this is a great example of why it's important to remember some checkmate patterns, because this is one you should recognise. Your knight and the enemy pawn create a barrier near the edge of the board, and our rook is ready to give check along the 8th rank. But it's not quite right yet because the black king can escape to the side. Can we get the king to move to this square so it is stuck behind the barrier? How about moving our queen to f8? The black king could take it, but that's exactly what we want. But the black king could escape to h7 instead. Let's take a look at both of these choices. First, let's see what happens if black takes the white queen. Now the black king is behind the barrier, the white rook can give checkmate. But we know that black didn't have to take the queen, so let's go back and see what happens if the black king tries to run. The barrier is no use to us anymore, so how do we finish the game this time? It's the old trick of a defended queen next to the enemy king. Final puzzle, and it's black to play and mate in 3. And the first thing to notice is that the white king is stuck. That's good news. This is one idea to think about, but the first move isn't check, so white can open up an escape route. Always look at giving check, because you know that your opponent has to get out of check, so there are fewer choices to think about. There are only 2 moves which give check, but which one is best? This one looks safest, because the rook can't be taken, but I want you to think about this check, because it clears a space for the bishop. So if white uses the pawn to block check, or take the rook, then this bishop move is checkmate. But if white uses the bishop to take the rook, then the black bishop can attack from another direction. Let's look more closely at each of these possibilities. If white uses the pawn to take the rook or to block check, the black bishop gives checkmate on f2. That was only 2 moves, so let's go back and see what happens if white uses the bishop to take the rook. The black bishop can go the other way. White has to move the bishop back to block check, but the black bishop just takes it.